allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Surratt, Commissioner Stamps, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Ralph, Commissioner Pinkley, here.
Approve agenda. Could I add one thing later in the meeting, maybe after number 4? That would be to set the date of the special meeting to swear in the new member who will be elected on December 3rd, and that would be 9 a.m. December 9th. Yeah. The election is December 3rd, but I want to get the meeting set up and have an approval by the board of that December, the Monday after. Monday.
Okay. Any other comments on the agenda?
Nope.
We approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes from the 9:23 and also the 10:21 work session.
I move approval, Mr. Chair.
I got a motion for approval. Here a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any other comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Ceremonial. Have any, do we? Here. Announcements. Peggy, you've got an announcement?
You. Peggy Lodewijk, Chamber of Commerce. The annual meeting of our board of directors was moved from the barn since the barn was closed due to the fire inspection. It's now still November 14th at 5:30 snack, 6 o'clock meeting, and it's at the ballroom. There will be a PowerPoint of all the different things the Chamber accomplished this year. And we also have the Southern Thanksgiving dinner, which I invite all of you. That is on Thanksgiving. The first seating 11 to 1, the second 2 to 4, $30, and it will include a turkey and ham, dressings, sides, desserts, and we do have tickets. So I want to thank you for having the ballroom open to us.
Thank you, Peggy. Any other announcements?
Nope.
Okay. Any public comments? Mr. Voorhees, you have any comments you'd like to make? Could you come to the podium, please? You can do this. Why don't you get organized and do this at the end of the meeting, okay? Thank you. Okay. Reports. Mr. Manager.
Yes. First of all, Carrie wanted me to read this off for the girls. I want to give my staff a huge thank you. Regina, Deb, Sherry, Steph are workhorses. They worked on their days off and came in when they weren't feeling the best to accomplish processing $720,473.71 of assessment payments and had them deposited and posted very efficiently. When proper entities called to check to be sure their payment had been received, there was no going through a stack of mail to see if the payment had been received but not processed. With the October 15th assessment deadline plus water bills due the 18th of October, It is an extremely challenging time for the district office. Now the assessment payments received and screened to determine if they were mailed on and before the October 15th. Those mailed on or before the 15th are considered current. Those that do not have an eligible date or are not postmarked by the 15th are considered delinquent. Delinquent letters will be mailed in November. So yes, very huge applause for the girls on that. The water rate study did not get done due to other problems. So we're, hopefully, this Friday, we'll have that, and then we can work on something else with that. And then we are checking on prices for Versaboom mowers for next year. It's gonna be a pretty big purchase that we need to take care of, because right now, the one we have is literally costing us nickel and diming us to death, and it's very dangerous. It's the Versaboom mower, so it's the tractor with the big arm that goes out and clears all the shrubs.
I was wondering, what if we just put all brand-new hoses on those two units and didn't spend the $45,000? And I think they would last 4 or 5 more years, because we're in kind of a pinch
Yeah, I
right
know
now.
we are. I should take you down and show you this tractor.
Well, I've seen the mowers, so don't, I know what they look
It's
like.
not the regular bush hog mower. This is the one with the big arm. I mean, this tractor is a death trap.
That we use for trimming along the edges.
You're not talking about the
He's
greens
talking-
mower.
No,
No,
we're talking about
This is a golf course.
what he
This is-
mows.
The
Pointing
road,
at
the
the
Yeah,
road ditches.
yeah, I know, he's, the one that they fold up on.
The road ditches.
Yeah,
Yep, it's got a big arm that comes off the side. And that
Yep.
way you can trim the trees back.
that one's pretty shot.
Oh, I'll take you down there and show it to you.
It's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Everything is.
that's the only thing we have to mow the road ditches?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
we have one.
Yeah. I'm sure, yeah, the road ditches are, a lot of them are pretty steep. I suppose too many rocks.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, but it's really, I don't even know what year it is, but it's, the back counterweight is a 55-gallon drum with concrete poured in it and hooked to the 3-point. That's what the counterweight is. That's how old this thing is. So it's something, and Mike's getting prices of all that together, and it's just something that we really need to start looking into and considering for next year.
It definitely does need, yes.
Besides that, that's all I have for right now.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Rich, and this is under reports, and I know, I'm looking at the rest of the agenda. Today is the last meeting for October, and we go into November. We've got a work session the third Monday usually, and I know this might change a little bit for things that we have to do, and Thanksgiving is in there, but my concern is on the budget for 2025. Usually we're looking at September and October, looking at that budget at this table, and so far today now we have the financials coming up, but we've talked nothing about the budget, and I know that probably you and Jennifer are working on it, but I think my goal is to lower the assessment. We went up last year about $50 or whatever percent it was. And the city is working on plans to try and help us with funding. And I don't know any more about that. They had a meeting last week. But so I'm really concerned that and I know because you've cut out a lot of the budget that we're in right now and done a good job at that. But we're still, I think, higher on the 24 budget than we should have been, according to what Jennifer had said down at that chair a few months ago. So when are we going to have the discussion, and we just talked about mowers and so forth, the capital items, but when are we going to have a thorough discussion, maybe an hour or more, about each department, or are we asking the department heads to cut back, or what are we looking at just in big, I know we've got the UV system, we've got other things that are large ticket items, the water study, but I just don't think we've given enough attention to the new budget. We've got to have it done before December 3rd, because that's when the election is. Have the new board deal with the budget with just a week or so to go in the year.
We didn't get on Jennifer about getting that budget to us, and then hopefully we can do with the emergency reading of the water rate. We can probably present that. I'll see how far she is along with that. It's looking way better than it did last year. But yeah, we're getting there.
I don't know if the others have comments on the budget.
If need be, we'll call a special meeting to go over the budget.
Well, we definitely have to have a balanced budget. We're not going into the next year being upside down again.
No.
And we're still upside down right now.
Well, we had a little rec center and a few other things that messed around. But yes. Okay. New business.
So, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we're going to sort of either, I would suggest that we have the third Monday or whatever the Monday is for the work session for November, have that just as a special session meeting that we could take votes on for the budget, preparation for the 2025 budget, because otherwise we're going to be at the last meeting, whenever that is, and we're going to run out of time to have a thorough discussion on it.
Okay.
I think that you working with Jennifer can arrive at a date. And we can call a special meeting without much advance notice, 2 hours notice. And there's no point in scheduling anything right this minute because you don't know, you don't have your numbers together. And she, I'm sure, is working on it. That's part of what, that's part of her responsibility. So whenever you're ready, you and the chairman can work on a special meeting to take care of it.
What's this action item?
I see the, Rich, I see the machine in the middle on the table there. Is that a speaker that we could get through to Jennifer if she's not here?
Jennifer's new job, we'll have to make sure that we set up appointment and time for her to be out, ready to get on a call if we need her.
Okay,
But we'll get that all set up when it's time to present.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's another factor in when we can meet. Only worked for us.
Action items? No. New business. Number one is the purchase of 2 used Jacobson 322 hybrid mowers for the greens mowers. Your discussion.
I've had several calls about this. Common sense thing was, Randy, when your John Deere blows a hose, do you go buy a new tractor or do you fix the hose? Common sense says we replace hoses. We don't replace 40 machines because they got a leaky hose.
Well, I don't think they have a leaky hose right now, but yeah, you're right. You don't replace the tractor with, when you do a hose, but I understand that these mowers are fairly well used.
Well, they're only used, 5 months out of the year?
No, the greens mowers.
Right. Are they mowing in February with snow?
Well, if they overseed, they would.
And typically, how long do they run? My point is that the chronological age of these machines is misleading compared to the number of hours they're actually used. And I just don't see spending $40,000 on 2 used mowers because they might blow a hose. Now, Tyler, when he was here, and this was brought up to me in conversation, he never mentioned there's any other problem with those machines, other than they have the potential for blowing hoses, which all hydraulic
All of them.
systems do.
And you could take those hoses to somebody that makes them. You don't have to buy them from the dealer and do them for about 40% of what the dealer's going to charge you to do those hoses. You could put all new hoses on those things every 5 years. I bet you some of them haven't been replaced in 10 years. So we need to maybe think about doing that to save some budget.
Well, I just think when we're in a budget deficit, still upside down, and we're still spending money that we don't need to spend. If the hoses is a Band-Aid and it gets us by for a couple of years until we get on our feet financially, then maybe we can look at buying some used greens mowers. Where we're at right now, I just don't see how we can afford it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am?
I would like to jump ahead just a little bit to the financials to point out that our net cash balance right now is $1,439,000. We have levy payments are not all included in that. We have our special projects of $657,000. So we have over $2 million in the bank. Our financial position is good, it's solid, and we can afford $45,000 for used equipment to maintain our golf course. From what Tyler said last week, it's spraying oil every time you turn it on because of the way it's designed.
No.
If they could put a pan, you can have somebody weld a pan under them things so they don't leak. But secondly, if you put the new hoses on, you're not going to have a problem. Hydraulic hoses don't just leak. They usually get a crack and get a hole in them.
Phyllis, I don't want to debate this, but when we go back to a year or more ago, 2 years ago, one of the members raised her paper and said, we have plenty of money in the budget that you just described. But then how did we come up $800,000 short?
We
And
don't have-
And Jennifer had, let me just finish, and I'll let you speak. Jennifer had said we got to reduce the budget, and Rich Biggins did that. But we're still, like Randy said, still not even. So if we have all this money, either we're describing what we have wrong, and I'm not a CPA, I'm pretty good at math, but not a CPA. So we could spend maybe $200,000 on greens mowers if we have all that money. But Randy's right. We're still not even with this year's budget.
We are conflating the budget, which is projections, with the money in the bank. I'm not an accountant either, but I can read Jennifer's reports that shows our unrestricted cash, real money, at $1.4 million.
No.
And if we have an expense, there's no reason not to use those funds, because in the long, $45,000, yes, it's a lot of money, but in the long, we have put Band-Aids on things for years. That's why we ended up spending $500,000 on fire trucks last year. At some point, you say, it's time to buy the bullet. We have the funds available. We've got $600,000 sitting in that special projects account that we all decided on. You were on the board at the time. And to me, there is no reason not to go forward with the purchase of equipment that will take care of our prime asset in the long run.
Well, let me ask.
First of all, this is for two. If I remember seeing those,
Two.
they were 45,000 EA.
Altogether, 20 each.
20 each, okay.
I have a question, and why couldn't we, because the 18-hole is twice as many holes as the 9-hole, what about buying one and try to fix the other one, see how that goes on the 9-hole, which isn't used hardly at all, or at least half as much. And also, Phyllis, I want to bring up that I wanted to lower the assessment for 25.
Yeah,
Lower
that's
it.
another conversation.
Well, it's a very good conversation because, pay me now or pay me later, spend now or save it later. We've got to have this budget back in order, and just because we have the money in a special account doesn't mean we couldn't move that to other needs and save some money. Let's save the taxpayers some money, okay? Let's lower the assessment.
Well,
People's homes and lots.
There's no place for that discussion right now.
Ken, in addition to that, all this money that we have, we still have to buy a generator. We have to deal with well 4.
Now,
And now I understand we got to put a ceiling in the clubhouse. We've got a lot of expenses that are of a higher priority than greens mowers that may potentially have a hydraulic leak.
I got
Rich,
nothing.
last question from me, Rich. Has Tyler, I talked to him after the meeting last week. We had a good discussion, but have they tried to replace the hoses on those two items?
Mike.
As they leak, and then with Eric up there now, who's the mechanic, He is doing a very good job of maintaining everything. In Tyler's defense, the mowers are 20 years old. I mean, they are taking a lot of upkeep and everything, and they do get used quite a bit, as you guys know. They are out there mowing them greens. But that's just.
They don't mow the greens every day.
No, but that's just my defense for Tyler, because even if we could get just one right now, and it would make it easier on Eric the mechanic, because he needed utility carts. Eric's replacing motors on, I mean, he's stealing from Peter to pay Paul on motors for utility carts to keep them going on that. Eric's earned every penny he's got up there as a mechanic, keeping all the stuff going. So if we could do anything to help them out, and then plus get rid of the hydraulic leaks when I go in with a hybrid, it's just gonna help them out. And it's, like we said, we have neglected maintenance and material stuff around here for too long. Any baby step you guys can give right now is going to help us in the future.
Well, are we ready to do a motion on buying these things, or?
Were there public comments regarding it?
Is there any public comments regarding this? Okay.
Maple Rock Drive. I appreciate your discussions, and I totally understand what it's like to have money in the bank, but have to really watch it because you don't have a lot more coming in, okay? The suggestion for buying one and repairing the other one certainly makes a whole lot more sense than going out and buying two when you have a whole lot of other projects, like you said, that are going to need to have funds. So when you look at, oh, we've got all this money and we can spend this. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that, because, you know, now that I'm a widow and my funds are totally different, it may seem like you have a lot, but you can't be spending big chunks because it's going to go away real fast. So I would like to suggest from a public standpoint that buying one and repairing the other for now would be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Do we have a motion?
Do we have
on
a
the floor?
motion?
We don't have a motion.
We don't have a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
move that we purchase two used green mowers for around $45,000.
Do I hear a second?
A second does not imply consent. It gets the motion on the
discussion.
record. You're still free to vote no.
I do not have a second.
This is
We'll
bullshit.
table that for now.
This is bullshit.
Okay, purchase
There's
of
no
a,
way to run a meeting.
purchase of a generator for well number one. We have four bids. We have Central Power Systems in service. The generator is $42,761. The electric to go with that is another $15,900 for a total of $58,661. Then we have Cummins Sales and Service. The generator is $48,401. Old Town Electric is $12,365 for a total of $60,766. We have Warren Welding and Generator. The total is $73,515.11. And then we have Riggs, which is Caterpillar, for a total of $74,569. Now, the generators are necessary. You got to have those on those well systems, of power outage and this sort of thing. It's got to be. We don't have much choice about that. It's just which one.
Are they all the same? Oh, the specs, are we comparing all the generators with the same specs as far as kilowatt hours?
Yes, they're all the same specs.
Well, I like the generator price of 42,000. Why can't we do that and have Old Town for 12,000 wire it?
Yeah, I was wondering. Same thing, but this is, the way Dan presented them was with these electric companies for each company, working with them together. So they presented as a group, is how they were presented. So Central Power has Dale West for their electrician, where
And
Cummins has.
what brand of generator are these all cats, or what are they?
No, they're all four different brands. They're the Gentex, and then the Cummins is the Cummins, and then the two cats.
Rich, on the prices, like the first one, Central, prices there in Neil West, so two of them have local people that wire them and set them up. Warren and Riggs have total price, they would bring their own people.
They have their own electricians they bring in.
So one way or another, you gotta get an electrician, certified electrician to climb into the system.
What do you think? Take
A
the first
question from my previous notes. There was talk about a FEMA application or an insurance payment. Have you investigated those? That's fine, that's my question. Thank you.
Don't-
I'll make a motion that we take we'll take the first one, which the generator was $42,781, and the installation electric was $15,900, which is a total of $60,561.
58,600.
Yeah, 58,000, excuse me. Light's not very bright here, and I can't see very well.
Is Dale West Electric, is that a local electrician? Okay.
And Rich, these are, Dan would recommend each of these equally. He didn't express a preference.
Dan just presented them all to me, and this is,
That, from your discussions, these are the ones you chose.
he had no,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that motion to purchase from
Okay.
Central Power Systems.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion. My problem is, why is there so much electrical things? Because they've all had generators before. Why is the electrical so much to do that?
well, that generator up there needs to be, the disconnect and all that stuff up there needs to be upgraded, of course, to meet standards because it's been there for so long. So when you take and pull new wires and everything, and then new disconnect box, and then wiring up the new generator, it adds up pretty quick.
Okay, very good.
What is the delivery time on these?
Hoping with the Central Power, we're hoping first of the year, January, middle of January. So if we pass this, then he can get in right away, and then we can get going on it.
Is there any value to the generator we have right now?
We sold it on Purple Wave, and right now we are waiting on that guy to come get it out of there because he thought it was, we had equipment to lift it, and we do not. So now he is working on getting a crane to get it lifted up out of there. The old one is already disconnected, ready to go. We're just waiting on the guy that bought it on Purple Wave to come and pick it up.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Rich, the other three, even though they're higher by a couple thousand, maybe more than that, would they be quicker on installation, faster?
The only one that was gonna be quicker was the Riggs Cat, which is the highest one.
Okay.
Now, the one that we replaced on well 4, that was a cat, correct? Yeah.
Good, thank you.
I mean, on average, how many hours a year do these things run?
We exercise them every month for an hour, but yeah, on average, I couldn't tell you. Just one big ice storm or a power outage because of wind.
How many hours do they have on, do they all have on, do you know?
I don't know.
Probably couldn't have had too many, I wouldn't think.
No,
How much money did that bring?
you would ask.
Well, well, whatever that brought reduces the cost of this. I mean, our cash outlay
It was
is,
basically iron price, so $2,500, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was $2,500.
okay. Well, it goes from 60 grand to worth $2,500 in a few years.
Yeah, 2 years. Is it 2 years?
I don't know.
How many years we have that?
How old
generator?
is this generator that we sold?
This isn't, well, 4 was the one that was replaced 2 years ago.
Many
Oh.
years.
Yeah, this one's been up there a long time.
Okay.
This
And
is
it's
the
gone
oldest.
now, so it
yeah,
doesn't matter.
This is the
Well
oldest
number,
one.
well number one is well number one. So it's been there a while.
Okay. Well, I think we should go ahead with this one.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay. Well, we got something done.
Shit.
Uh,
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I apologize.
We got a draft for an amendment for rate increase. It's regulation, regulation 14. Has to do with the amendment to regulation of number 14, establishing the rates for services to be furnished by the sewer system of the Holiday Island Suburban Improvement District and other purposes. We have a rate study that has been in the mill for months. And due to people calling in and asking stupid questions, they have delayed it and delayed it and delayed it. And these people that out here in this community that seem to think that they know more than the engineers and everybody else about all this stuff have caused this problem that we can't get anything done because of the questions that they're being asked. They take the time out. We talked with the person in charge of this rate study. They're from Nebraska. Last Thursday. And she said, by the time that they get through answering all the questions, they don't have time to get to the study. So I know I'm speaking to the choir, but you people, if you got questions, ask them here. We can answer those questions. They come up with all kinds of stuff about the water system not being healthy, all this other kind of stuff. We send samples in to the health department every day. And let me tell you, if you have anything wrong, that health department will shut your stuff down. I know. I've experienced that. And I experienced it right here. In the early 80s, we got a notification from the health department that the water on the island was contaminated with PCBs. And by our fortune, we tried to research everybody that we knew that had any idea of where maybe a transformer had been dumped or hydraulic fluid had been dumped. All this stuff because of the contamination, particularly in close to well number 1. Well, we were fortunate in the fact at that point in time that the two systems were not connected. The island had its own system. And thank God for a gentleman by the name of Morris Cramner, who was a friend of our attorney at that time, Ken Castleberry. He came up, and he was the former head of the Food and Drug Administration. He came up and helped us with it, and finally climbed up on the top of the water tower that's over by the 9-hole golf course maintenance building. And he scraped some paint from under the lid. And lo and behold, we found where the PCBs were coming from. It was from the paint that was coated the tank. Copper's Paint furnished the paint. And they came in, they sandblasted it, took it all out, brought another tank in, a temporary tank to set up, and we worked nights, every night for about 3 weeks, scrubbing the lines. And we got it done. We kept a diary on it, and the health department adapted that diary as the means of cleaning up the system, and we got it cleaned up. There were 3 other towns in the state of Arkansas that had it. They got theirs fixed as well. Only ours was Cooper brought in a dump truck, got all the sand out of the tower, out of the water tank, hauled it to Atlanta to the toxic waste dump. They sealed it, wrapped it in plastic, and hauled it off. Well, Springdale didn't see the sense in wasting all that good sand, and so they put it in chicken houses. Consequently, Tyson got to destroy, I forgot how many Cornish hens, but there was 3 chicken houses that they had to be destroyed. But anyway, the state of Arkansas, the health department, they will let you know when something's wrong. If you have any questions, come and ask them. We'll get you the answer. You don't have to pester everybody in the state and out of state over a rate study. Come and ask the questions, and we will answer them. Thank you. That's my sermon of the day.
Do we need to read this? Will you cut to the chase for us and tell us what the changes are that this involves?
This is the draft, just to let everybody publicize, so that way everybody knows what the rates are now. And then when we get the water rate study, what the increases will be. So it'll be the reading of it and the first reading for the approval of the rates. So this will be the water rate and the sewer rate. So this is just showing the draft, so that way they know what we will be doing.
So this is
Just the drafts on.
just information
Yep.
and doesn't really require any board action
Nope,
at this
just,
point.
just so we can put it to the public, so that way they know.
And the same on the sewer side. Thank you.
Once we get the water rate study, then we know exactly what we can do on we can't do the sewer without the water rate increase, so right now we're just on hold.
I was kind of wondering, the policy of having the sewer rates based on your water consumption is really unfair, because the person that just flushes a stool very few times or has no people in the house other than themselves, they use the same sewer as the guy that's running water. And, running that water makes your sewer work better. So, I think you might say it's not a fair deal. Everybody should be charged the same flat sewer rate, period. And then you charge the water rate. We tried that for many years, and it didn't work, and finally, we went strictly to the sewer costs per month, and then we charged for the water different. That made more sense, and everybody in town got the same sewer bill, because we have to maintain the sewer lines no matter whether you flush your stool once a day or 1,000 times a day.
Sewer rate wasn't based off your water meter usage.
It isn't here in town?
No, I'm asking you. Your sewer rate was not based off your water meter service. It was just a flat rate for the sewer, and then your water bill
Yes,
adjusted.
we went to a flat rate for the sewer, and then the water was separate, We did not say, okay, use 1,000 gallons of water and you used 100,000. Your bill is going to be 100 times more than this bill. And I think that's unfair to the person that waters, like if you water your garden.
That's
No,
totally
That's not
separate.
going down the sewer.
That can be there's
It's a
a separate
separate
meter
meter,
for
yeah.
that. They will install a separate meter for watering your garden,
Exactly.
and you're not paying sewer on that.
Well, how do you do that when it's connected to your house? And you use the spigot that's coming out of your house?
Then you are paying sewer.
Then you are paying sewer on that.
Well, that's why I say it, we could eliminate that, and you wouldn't have to spend all that money on those extra water meters if you, in fact, you have one flat rate. What's the
Well,
what's the
I'm
problem?
going to tell you right now, about every city in the state of Arkansas is based on the water usage for the sewer.
But it's unfair.
But
Not fair and
Well,
equitable.
but if you want to do it and have a flat rate, the guy that doesn't use much water and sewer is going to pay a higher rate than he is currently to make the average. So if you take the total usage and the average and you divide it by the number of users, the person that's using very little now, his bill is going to go up.
And it should, because the maintenance cost in the sewer is the same for him as anybody else.
Well, when I lived in Bentonville, the sewer rate was twice what the water rate was. In other words, if whatever your water you used was metered and charged, the sewer rate was twice that. So,
I think that's
anyway,
unfair.
Well, okay, I did have the opportunity to build a new sewer system in a community. And that community had a private water company, and we entered to the Public Service Commission. Nightmare. But anyway, whenever we put it in, that's exactly how the Public Service Commission dictated that it went, was based on water usage.
Chairman, we have a commercial user in the audience. I'm wondering, David, you have a new business laundromat, and it uses a lot of water. And do you have any comments about this proposal or water going in your?
Mike, please.
Microphone.
Dave Dobrin, Oak Point. I think the only way to do it is water usage versus sewer, because there's no flat rate. Like you said, one guy pays hardly anything, and the other guy who doesn't use it pays a lot, or it just doesn't. The only way I think it could be done. And I talked to Rich about usage, and I'm happy with what's going on. So I don't have any.
Every one of your washers, when the soap is in there and the clothes are all clean, that goes into the sewer system.
Well, it goes into a trap, almost like a grease trap. So the heavy solids settle to the bottom and they're not being processed or cleaned. And so the gray water is what goes into the system.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, David. You should-
Mr. Chairman, we have to approve this as a draft.
Do I have a motion to approve the drafts?
I'd like to move that we approve draft regulation number 14, amendment number 9. Bundle approved.
Yeah, here's a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I guess I misunderstood.
Are we going to approve these together, the water rate and the sewer rate, when it comes time?
Yes.
Because this is just a draft for the sewer part of it.
Yeah, this is just to get it out to the public so that way they know. No, you got a draft for the water.
You got room
Nine,
for each.
9 is water,
Oh, but that's,
10
okay.
is sewer.
But there's no money involved.
We have a motion and a second. I hear approval. Signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we got that going. Okay, we received the September financial statements. I haven't had a chance to really look at them, but I'm sure they're good.
Maybe you can help us, in terms of what you cut earlier in the year, a lot of money out of the budget, and what we have here are September financials. It's still showing, in your opinion, where some of these pockets are that we might have to look at in order to come out even, as far as what I say, even, on budget with no deficit.
With this budget, if you look at the third to last page where she does every department individually, right now we should be at 74.9%. expended. So if you look at detail where we at per department, how we're looking for that, we're a little high yet, but it gives us a good line of what we can adjust for next year's budget. And as of right now, I mean, the revenue in is at 2% and expenses out is at 1%. So we're making steps. We're getting there. I don't see any problem right now. I think we'll be just fine for next year, dealing with the balanced budget. And the way she sets this up for me and explains it all, it really helps, so that way I can go department line by line and see what we got to do a little bit more work with it.
Yeah, that's a nice new report she put there.
One of the things, Rich, that you and I mentioned just briefly a few weeks ago was salaries, wages, and benefits. 57 good employees, and that's going to out in the final budget and the amount of assessment that we charge for lots and homes. And that's something we need to talk about and get your input and the department heads.
Yeah, we definitely need to look, when we get the budget numbers done, we'll definitely be looking at raises and what we can do.
I'd like to, now this budget, you said is really looking good. It's based on that 800,000 over budget. So it's not looking as good as we're talking about.
And that's the biggest factor there. We always have to look back on that rec center and what was spent out. And, I'm sorry. But when next year's budget comes out, we will not have that expense, which is gonna help us look even better for 2025.
But like I say, it's still based on that $800,000 over budget.
It's 900,000.
900,000.
Well, it's actually, it was, with the rec center, it was 435,000 that we went over.
And how about the fire trucks? How about the fire apparatus we purchased?
Yeah.
Let's talk about, if you want to talk about busting the budget, you have to include the fire apparatus.
There was many things.
Many things.
That was passed
Many things.
for this budget that just mathematically didn't make sense that I had to take care of.
And you have corrected it, and we're moving forward from here.
It's the purchase of fire trucks did not help us any for this year either, so.
I want to be clear.
Chair, that I mentioned earlier in the meeting, and I don't want to belabor it, but the city has been very good to the CID over the past 4 years that they've been incorporated, that we've been incorporated as a city. And there's still discussions ongoing every city council meeting about how they can use some of the money that they've received from different sources and how they could help us at the CID, Suburban Improvement District. There's a lot of work still to be done on that at the city council, and the council members have great ideas about that, but I think that we have to look at what they could contribute. Maybe it's the fire department, maybe it's roads, maybe it's something else, I'm not sure. I try to go to as many meetings as I can and hear what their input is. But we should not count on that, but we should also try to live within our means and, as I said before, be really not a tight budget, just like we are with our family.
Okay, let's approve the financial statements, and then we'll get commissioner comments.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Do I hear?
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Then, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we got that done. Now then, public comments. Mr. Voorhees? Notice you said, put on here, failing water system. We do not have a failing water system. No, I'm going to make this comment, and I'm going to make it clear. We do not have a failing water system. No, that's not an opinion, that's a fact.
Microphone.
Name and address, please.
My name is Dan Voorhees, 25 Table Rock Drive. 2024, the Arkansas Department of Health Sanitary Survey puts well number 5 at 104% over maximum demand capacity. Well number 4 at 99.8%, and the total of all 3 wells at 80.3%. How can we promote new building on new business when we cannot adequately and efficiently provide water for the current customers? Is there a plan for a new well, or even maintaining the existing water system we have? It has been known since 2023 that well number 5 is needed a rebuild if well number 5 were to go down, or well number 4 to be shut down again. We would not have adequate wells to service water needs. What is the contingency plan should one well or many wells go down? Again, well number 4 was shut down before. When is the rehab of well number 5 going to be done? What are the financial impacts? Are we ready to do that? Is there a date specific? It has been known that since before 2006 that old pressure relief valves needed replacing. 24 have been replaced. When are the remaining PRVs going to be replaced? It is decades overdue. It has been recommended by the Department of Health for more than 2 decades to reduce the leaking. It has been documented by the Department of Health that overpumping can increase radium. See the 2006 letter to HICID. Well number 2 is closed because of radium. In 2019, well number 5 reached a level of 12 for gross alpha. 15 is the limit and could trigger a forced shutdown. I call that a crisis, Larry. It has been known for decades that most of the leaks are in the service lines, which are in many instances PVC attached to asbestos cement pipe. See the 2013 leak report. Arkansas Department of Health and Engineering documents clearly state that the lines were laid improperly. See the 2024 sanitary report and 2017 engineering report. PVC has a lifespan of no more than 40 years. What is the overall water plan to keep our water system functioning? You can no longer claim ignorance of this issue. I have been a maintenance man for more than 20 years.
Time's
I know
up.
the board has, in my opinion, acted with criminal mismanagement.
I take exception to that, criminal.
Let
What
me
evidence do you?
speak. I'm not done.
You are done. Your 3 minutes is over.
Well, thank
And I'd
you.
like to go back to this, you accusing this board
your
of
3 minutes are up.
criminality
Your 3
without
minutes
any
are up.
evidence. What'd you say?
Your 3 minutes are up.
No, I have all the time in the world. Your 3 minutes is up.
Then I'm done.
No, what did you say after you left the podium?
Any more public comments? That's all I had on my list. Miss Linda?
No, I know, having been a commissioner, that Dan has done an excellent job with our water system with what he had to work with. And when I read a lot of those comments in social media about the water system and the accusations, I was really disturbed to have to read that because I know it's not true. However, my suggestion would be to put some answers to those accusations in the e-newsletter. And I'm sure that Rich, I hate to take Dan's time away from what he's doing to have to write all that stuff up because he's valuable performing the job he's been doing, and he's done a damn good job.
But maybe Rich, with his background in water, could formulate some answers that assure people that the water system is not crumbling, it's not going to go to hell, and because, and you mentioned it, people are bothering rate study people with these questions, but it's because they've been stirred up on social media. You need some way to address that. That's my comment.
Thank you.
Larry, I'd like to say something. You know, I think back, I know, back a while back, when they did well number 5, when they did get the state approval, that was not, they had the wrong well on that. So we need to get that well could very possibly, if we get them to redo that, because they just wrote the wrong number. They wrote well 4 instead of well 5. And so the state said, no, you can't, well 4 is not right. So what you have to do is we have to send a new application in, and get that well cleared, and we can hook well number 5 up by the house. We can hook those wells together. Well, 4. 4 and 7, excuse me. But anyhow, but we can hook those wells, then we could hook that well into the line. We would have a backup system. If one well went down, the other one kicks in. Because right now, that one well is kicking in a lot, but it's not pumping much. It runs for 10 seconds or 20 seconds and then kicks out because the water's not needed. Because there's no system. In other words, it's not a round system. So I think we need to have that thing redone for the state. Because that was an error. That was an error on the guy that did the study or sent the application in, and that was the engineering firm. I read the report, and it's wrong. And I met then with one of the old directors, and he explained exactly what it was.
Rich, can you address the notion of these pumps running at 108% or whatever? You know, I understand that electric motors vary in capacity and what they're running and how long they're running at capacity, what that capacity is.
The biggest problem with this study was between 2024 and 2020 was the way they did the study. And it was, 2020 was based off the highest usage per month of the entire year, and then averaged out and put out. 2024, they took the highest pumped usage day of the entire year on one well and sent that study out. That is the
So they kind of
problem.
enlarged the figures.
Yeah.
So it is a misleading
If you want to
statement.
make somebody look like they are failing, you will do the math wrong and make them look like they're failing. That was the biggest deal, was the way they did the math for that study.
That makes sense.
Now, with well 5, we are going to have an engineer come in because it's pretty much going to settle a dispute between me and Dan on whether we need booster pumps or just a bigger pump, one pump. And so we're going to bring in an engineer, we're going to have an engineer study go out, and we're going to decide which one is going to be the best option, booster pumps or just a bigger pump, and do away with the booster pumps. That's the only thing right now with 5 that we're going to do. And then when we figure that out, then we'll go further with that, new disconnect, new hookup, and everything like that, for a lot less.
We publicly do need to address what's going on with the PRV valves. This has gone on way too long.
We are at 30%, or 30 done, 39 left, and then we have them on the shelf, and we're going to start working on them again, getting them replaced.
Well, we were told.
Yeah.
We were told that they were all in.
And that's the biggest problem is, after a lot of digging and figuring out and finding a map on an old computer where we're setting, and there's 30 done, we have 9 left to do. And so we're going to get working on them 9 left.
And do we have a scheduled completion of those?
As of now? No.
I misunderstood what you said previously, Rich. The total PRVs is 39, and we have 30 done. Okay, so there's 9 remaining. And the ones that have been completed are the most urgent. The ones that are in the
They did
places
them-
that need
yeah,
it the most.
They did them as they need to be done in certain spots, but we have 9, as of now, we have 9 left, according to the study and the paperwork.
I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
I agree with
Yes, sir.
Linda. I think we need maybe even a 2-page study, if it could be done, like the mayor does on several occasions. He has an open letter to the public, Mayor Dan Keys, about different things. And I think then once you put it out there, it could take a couple of days to write it, and but all the specifics are in there. And then if people like that don't believe it, then we've done our job. And it's like the annual report we get from the state of our water. It's perfect. The water here is great, and it's not going to make anybody sick. It's just 100% correct. And they do a study of that, and like Larry said, it's set in all the time. We're always watched, and that's the way it should be, Arkansas Health Department. So I've stopped listening to social media because it's so wild and wacky and lies.
I don't even turn
It's
on
lies. And I guess people just have a thrill about accusing people, and it's about this, also the Ethics Commission. I may have to go down November 22nd to Little Rock and answer a question that was posed about all of us, just about on this board. And it's nonsense. Ethics Commission of Arkansas. And, you know, I won't say any more about it because I'll probably get in trouble about that, but we're trying to do the best we can. And guess what? We get $0 for this, okay? No money. And then you put up with stuff like this as a board member. It makes you not want to run.
Ron, I got a letter from the Ethics Committee the other day, and they dropped all the charges against me. I sent, the state, or the county sent the information that they said, and they said they had a panel meeting, and they dropped all the charges against me personally. That was Dave sworn in and all the stuff.
Well, let me tell you.
Doug, I'm working on that, but it's so
What
ridiculous.
my-
Yeah, I know they
Hang on a
haven't,
minute.
did some of you guys.
What I was accused of doing is I failed to put down on there that I was president of the Rotary Club.
You and me both.
I was president of the Rotary Club. I
got
failed
you.
to put that on there. But whenever I filed an amended correction to it, I also put on there that I'm the financial director of the Knights of Columbus. And I'm a practicing Catholic. And so I want to make the world known that myself is an open book.
They accused me of not sending a voter register, not sending the, I cleared that. But they accused me of not filing with the election committee to run for the board. That's what they accused me of. And they sent and I wouldn't have been on the ballot if I hadn't, so I called the county clerk. The county clerks read the letter to me that I signed, and they signed. I did it in the office, and the gal said, I remember when you were hitting it. I have a pacemaker, and I went through that. I went through their deal, and it knocked me down. It stopped my pacemaker. And so I was at the courthouse. I mean, at the clerk's office, right at the door, the sheriff called, man, they were going to get the rescue unit over there, and it took me about a half hour to recover from that. So I ain't going through any more of those cities. But the gal remembered exactly. She said, you were here. And she wrote the ethics committee that very statement about. So I know that these people are off the wall.
Okay, well, I'll tell my story.
Yes.
I
We've all
have,
got one.
yes, I have filed it for 3 years. I have always under income just put retired because I'm retired. So I had to file 3 amended returns. So now they know I have a pension from Commerce Bank and Social Security income. It's just silly, petty things that cost us time and our money and our effort for somebody who thinks she's the watchdog of the city, of the district.
Well, first
Doug,
of all,
myself,
we do not
and
get paid.
John and Jack Deaton all got cited for taking the oath too early. And according to Arkansas Code 1492-207, it clearly states within 30 days, commissioners will take the oath. So I don't know how you could be too early.
It says 30 days, that's what they told me.
Within 30
Within
days.
30 days, you gotta be sworn in.
That's why I've got that on here for
It's
today.
just petty.
It is.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, last item. Mayor Dan Keys appointed me, this person said, to the Holiday Island Planning Commission. Holiday Island SID, the High SID. We have no High SID Planning Commission. It's the city. So I have to answer that. I had to send in certified mail and all that. It's just getting way over the top.
Okay,
Okay, I do have a comment I would like to make.
okay, yes, ma'am.
For nearly 3 years, I have sat here mostly quiet while the 2022 and 2023 boards have been berated for approving, by a vote of 3-2, the construction of the new sports complex service facility. I have a few facts I would like to point out. At the end of 2022, the district held $2,333,374.09 in unrestricted cash. In addition, the district received $798,587.50 from the long-term lease of the cell tower. The 2022 board chose to hold the cell tower proceeds in a restricted major projects account. The balance of that account today is $657,100.93. This account is not included in the unrestricted funds number. Bear in mind, however, the account is only restricted as a board decision. It is not a required restriction by law. August 2021, the original rec center was found to be a structural and an environmental hazard. 3 separate engineering reports said it would not be practical to rehabilitate the building. Given its age and condition, they reported, there was no way to estimate repair costs. While the assets of the district have not been reassessed, one could conservatively expect the assessed value of the lands after improvements, the improvement being the new building, would be around $525,000. I base that simply on our construction estimate, our construction bid. Reassessment is estimated to cost the district around $250,000 and is not being considered at this time. We have had no discussions about having anything reassessed. The 2022 and 2023 boards made a responsible decision to use accumulated excess funds to construct a new, functional customer service facility. The building is a done deal. It was paid for by cash. There is no going back. So it is pointless continuing to use it as a cudgel for every perceived shortcoming of this board. We are not elected to accrue cash, but to make this community a better place to live, and the 2022 and 2023 boards did that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we need to schedule an agenda scheduling for next month.
We're looking at November 18th session. That works for everybody? And November 25th for the regular meeting. That
Okay,
works.
say it again, please.
18th, work, 25th, regular.
Thank you.
Nope, that should be regular.
Regular meeting and a
meeting.
work session.
I will let you know when we do have to have emergency meeting for the budget and the water rate study.
That will probably be separate.
Well, we're looking at either the 4th or the 11th, or, well, pretty much any time we need to get it done during that week.
Yeah, no, the 11th is a federal holiday.
Yep, so we will, if we have to do it during whatever day we have to, we'll have to do an emergency meeting, come in just to do them 2 readings.
Very good. It, yeah, but then you go ahead and do that.
I move that we schedule a meeting on December 9th at 9 a.m., a special meeting, and to swear in the winner of the post. And that will be 9 a.m. on December 9th.
I would second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay? Anything else? The 25th for the regular meeting. Do you hear a motion for adjournment?
Second it.
All in favor?